Hey guys, Jeff and Jeremy here on the 5-Minute Fatherhood podcast, and I get this question a lot. Dads are just like, oh, I'm starting to like wanting to have different themed nights. One of them is kind of a movie night, but we keep running out of movies, and so we have a cool fathers like Facebook group, and so sometimes people like will share different movies that have really resonated with their kids. And you know, as much as we often try to steer kids away from screens, I think helping them get immersed in epic stories is also really valuable, especially if you're doing it together. So I know we can take pot shots at screens and because we spend way too much time on them, but they do have their uses, and one of them is, man, there's some great movies out there that tell amazing stories that we want our kids to hear and be immersed in. And so, and you know, there's lots of them. So I thought Jeff and I can go back and forth on some that we've really loved. One that our family is totally into is Kubo and the Two Strings. This is a great little film, Japanese movie. I know Jeff wants to take a pot shot at the style aesthetic. Go ahead.
Not my favorit, but hey, as long as it's a good story.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's a great story. And so that's one that we like. There's a bunch of these, so we keep going back and forth. Jeff, what are you guys into?
For us, one thing that our kids are absolutely obsessed with, and yeah, just real quick thought too, like you said, we're actually pretty hyper vigilant, no screen family. We can be with toddlers; they don't really need them at all. But even then, we have one TV in our house. It remains hidden, no cable, etc. But we kept it. We almost got rid of all screens, but we kept it because I feel like film is so powerful. Stories are so powerful, especially collectively as a family. There's a huge difference of a family individually being glued to screens and then families partaking together collectively in story and in film. And I can't wait till the kids are older, because I think once you start getting into a little bit more serious, realistic films, it's a brilliant opportunity for conversation starters and for let's chat about this. What did you see there, etc.
Yeah.
But now at our age, so another one that our kids are obsessed with right now is the entire Cars trilogy. It's kind of one of the only movies they've actually seen at this age, because they just want to watch that one over and over and over and over again. And everyone in the family gets named based on the cars. So I'm Kinsley's Lightning McQueen. I think I'm Doc. Alyssa's Sally, if you've seen the movie, etc. So yeah, totally immersed in it. They bring that world out into the house. We engage with it. We love it. And that's a good one.
I think, you know, this is probably obvious, but I want to say it because I think it's really incredible. And that is The Incredibles, because
Touche.
I did not mean to do that. Sorry. Somebody edit that. But it's
dad joke.
What's really cool about it is that it's like the first time that I've seen a movie whose theme is a family team, where you take all the individual, like literally, and of course in the movies, superpowers, and you see what happens when they work together. That story is like, that is the story we're trying to tell in family teams. And one of the things I love about sometimes with films, particularly the epic animation films, is that oftentimes they reflect sort of the like emergent longing, or the longing that's just about over the horizon, that's just kind of emerging right now in the culture. And I think there is this sort of emerging desire to see what is this thing called the family for? And I think that The Incredibles is really great illustration of, hey, you all got superpowers. We all need to be working together, and that's what those movies are trying to illustrate. It's beautiful. It's awesome.
Totally. And then two for us, which I actually think in this, I'm glad Disney actually took a little bit more, started to go a different direction with not just always the princess, the damsel in distress, the romantic love story. Even though those are great, and even though there's elements of things that those are great, I do like that recently they've taken some turns that I actually think elevate family love over kind of just like romantic, you know, allure or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so the two movies I think of that is Moana and Frozen. So Frozen clearly is a movie where she picks family love over the typical, you know, Prince Charming, etc. Now I'm not talking about so what I like about that is I feel like it provides a really cool construct for us to then bring that back to the family and say, oh, look at this. The family seemed to have a unity and a love and a devotion that seemed to trump, because they weren't married, so they're not family yet. That seemed to trump this kind of this trope of the Prince Charming who actually ended up being a bad guy. And then Moana on the same front, because each movie, by the way, really comes down to interpretation. I think a lot of times Christians can nitpick certain movies of like, oh, it's teaching this or it's teaching that. Like, well, it really depends on what you bring back to the family and say, hey, let's talk about this. And Moana has some weird spiritual themes, of course, but it also has brilliant themes, I think. And one of those, again, is the blend or the tension between individual longing, but also wanting to be connected to your past and a multi-generational family. Moana is entirely about her rediscovering the story of her family hundreds of years ago. And I love, again, bringing that message back to the family rather than maybe some of the more interesting, weird parts. So those are two I would say.
It's crazy that when you see that multi-generational, it's happening more and more. Probably the movie where that talk about weird themes, but one that you can really see is that movie Coco. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh yeah, that one's brilliant because again, Latin America ideology is brilliant at connecting yourselves to multi-generational legacies.
Yeah, it's really goes deep into that conversation in that movie. So I definitely think that you should check that one out. Just to kind of, by the way, I think Kelsey almost had a conniption when you said Frozen. So all of my girls have some kind of like aversion to Frozen, and she doesn't have a mic, so she can't explain this to me. I've tried to ask them. Well, I mean, I will say that, like, Jeff loves Frozen, but
exactly right. I mean, I went and saw it 3 times in theaters by myself before we had children. Oh my gosh. I love the soundtrack. Now I think they're Frozen.
I think you got overawed by all that music, Jeff.
Exactly. I got hypnotized. But Frozen is weird because it does. Touche. That one does take on 2 kind of roads where it either is like a hyper princessy movie that some people don't like, or like I said, I really like the more like familial connection it makes. But yeah, that's funny.
So obviously others that are awesome. Inside Out, so fun to talk about emotions.
Yes.
I love the metaphor they created there. There's a movie called Wonder, if you haven't seen that. There's a tension that's so interesting between the main character and his older sister that is beautifully done in that movie. So in terms of sibling relationships, I think having a conversation around that with Wonder, and it's got lots of other great themes. And then, of course, if you want to have fun, there probably is no more funny movie to our family than The Emperor's New Groove. Absolutely has the best lines of just about any animated movie ever made. So that'll round up my listicle on movies. You got anything else for us?
That's all I got. Some of those Inside Out is brilliant. That was another one I was going to say because I feel like it just gives words and language and pictures to be able to really help construct and communicate about emotions to your kids, which are so important. Don't stuff them. You have them. They're important, but they also are not the end-all, be-all. There's different ones. And like it's kind of an undertone in that movie is there's certain, if you notice at the very end too, when they go through all the different people's brains, different emotions are on the driver's seat in different people's brains, which I think is a really interesting kind of subtle picture that they or truth they allude to there is which one are you letting kind of drive the car per se. So that's all we got, guys. Don't be mindlessly screen watching people, but let film and story be a beautiful tool to construct conversations and build your family culture. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching another daily episode of 5-Minute Fatherhood. A couple quick announcements. Did you know we have a free Facebook group for dads out there who watch these videos where we talk about these videos and the content? We do lives, we do Q&As, we encourage one another. Link down in the description. We'd love if you request to join and be a part of the community. It's awesome, it's free, and we can't wait to meet you. Also, me and Jeremy like to say a lot of fathers out there have never been taught how to be one, so we created a masterclass called Skill of Fatherhood Masterclass where we teach exactly that. Different modules unpacking all the different skills necessary to be a father who builds a multi-generational family team on mission. Link in the description for that, along with a secret discount code for the YouTube community watching. Secondly, boom, you hit this button right here, right there. Did it work? I don't know if I timed it well, but you can hit the subscribe button so you can actually see these daily videos when they actually come out and get them straight to your inbox. It would mean a lot to us if you hit the subscribe button. Let us know if you do, because we do random giveaways for those who are subscribers, and they let us know. We love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.